Who would you hire to run your show if you were starting a program tomorrow? They hand you the keys. They say, hey, hire whoever you want. One qualifier, though. Whatever head coach you hire, they have had to have less than 5 years of head coaching experience in college football. So that very obviously eliminates Kirby Smart, eliminates Dabo Sweeney, eliminates Ryan Day. It also just barely now, because I'm counting Sioux Falls as well, eliminates Kalen DeBoer. So you can't hire him. So who are you hiring? Can't hire Steve Sarkisian also. Who's your guy? I'm going to go actually in order here. Typically when we do exercises like this, we go in no particular order. I'm going to go in order here in terms of my list with who I'm hiring. And the first guy I'm calling, and I mean, I'm calling, I'm FaceTiming, I'm texting, I'm DMing, I'm doing anything in my power to make this man my head coach. It's going to be a tall task because he's said no to other jobs, it sounds like, at least over the course of the last few high-profile jobs that have become available. I see it in the chat. Dan Lanning. Layup of all layups here, man. Layup of all layups. 22-5 in 2 years in Eugene. We mentioned him yesterday being one of the individuals who I believe has the most potential in all of college football. Oregon has landed 2 top 10 classes since he's been there, working on his 3rd right now. So what does that tell us? He recruits. He's Jimmy's and Joe's oriented. He understands what wins football games. And teams take on the persona of their leadership. And if I hire Dan Lanning to be my football coach, I know that my team is going to have a lot of heart. All right, going to care about each other, going to have a great culture, going to have a ridiculous competitive streak. Like, you watch Dan Lanning, if you've ever seen any of his post-game press conferences or pre-game speeches, the way that he communicates, that dude is all business. Like, whenever we got to interview him on this show, it's a little bit tricky to tell how he's receiving the questions because he doesn't smile much. And if he does, he's talking about football. So, Dan Lanning, ball guy through and through. There's no way around it. I love the way he's also built his rosters at Oregon. I'm not going to tell you he hasn't inherited some really good players because he has. But what his teams have had since he's been there are 2 things. One, great line of scrimmage play. Defensive and offensive. He told us when we had him on the first time on this show 2 years ago, he's like, it's no secret. The game's won up front, so we're going to have big boys. They've had those at Oregon. Also, great quarterback play. Bo Nix was a tremendous get for them via the portal. So what does he go and do this past portal cycle? Goes out and lands not 1 but 2 of the top quarterbacks in the portal, and Dante Moore and Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel obviously going to be the guy for you this year in Eugene. But if I get a chance to hire somebody with less than 5 years of experience to start my football program, I'm going with Dan Lanning. He's only got 2 years, so he fits the qualifications. Dan Lanning is the first call I'm making. We'll say Dan Lanning says, hey, JD, I appreciate you, but guess what, man? I told many people this. The grass is very green in Eugene. Very green in Eugene. So I appreciate you, but I'm going to go ahead and stick out here. Say, okay, I understand that. So who's the next call we're making? Who's the next call you're making? For me, I'm giving a very, very quick call to Marcus Freeman out there in South Bend, Indiana. Marcus Freeman, only been a head coach for 2 years as well. He is 70% winning percentage so far at Notre Dame. And for him, I don't think he has, right now, consistently at Notre Dame at least, the most stacked deck of cards that he's playing with. Because you hear about Notre Dame and, yes, the academic standards. I think that's very difficult to recruit with, just to be real here. You have a smaller pool of individuals to pick from when you recruit. Also, the geography. Like, you're more often than not having to travel a good distance from your current state if you're a talented high school football player to get to South Bend. All right? It's not like it's just laid up there for you. It's not a quick drive. Again, probably hard to recruit with. And then on top of that, it gets cold in South Bend. It does. Like, I'm not telling you that's the end-all, be-all, but I'm telling you what, if you're on the fence and you're trying to sway a kid, telling them, hey, we got nice weather here at our school in South Bend, it gets a little bit snowy, I'm just telling you, I think that probably matters for some kids. So all that's to be said, the deck hasn't always been stacked in Marcus Freeman's favor, but guess what? He still wins. He still wins. On the recruiting trail, all the reasons I just mentioned as to why Notre Dame wouldn't recruit well, he's landed a top 10 class and a just outside the top 10 class his 2 years since he's been there. The thing I love about Marcus Freeman, too, he's going to swing big. He's going to challenge everything. We say it a lot on this show. That's not just something they put on a T-shirt to feel good about themselves and yell when they finish winter conditioning. Like, that's been real for him. And I understand that his His first OC hire wasn't as smooth as maybe we would have liked it to be. Tell you what, he's gotten tremendous quarterbacks via the portal, and Sam Hartman and now Riley Leonard was a big get for them. You go out and bring back the arguably top OC available coming off of just last year, and Mike Denbrock from LSU, who led the most potent offense in college football. I think his best days, too, as a head coach are very much so still in front of him. This list is of guys with less than 5 years of experience for a reason. But Marcus Freeman, as he continues to tinker with his process and how he does things, he's going to keep crushing it. And I have zero doubts that in this expanded playoff, Notre Dame is going to be in good shape. Also, just so we're on record here, dude, one of the most likable people, college football head coach or not. Like, we had him on this show, I guess it was 2 to 3 months ago for a conversation. Just the most nice, genuine, likable human being. So can't imagine that hurts recruiting either. Marcus Freeman, I'm giving him a call to be one of our head coaches, or to be our head coach, not one of our head coaches. He is our head coach if we get him to say yes to our program. If those guys say no, I'm giving a call to Brent Venables. And Brent Venables at Oklahoma right now, 2 years of experience. He brings the juice. That's pretty obvious, especially if you've watched him from his Clemson days. You have a strength coach that is assigned throughout the course of the game to pull Brent Venables off of the numbers, because otherwise he'll go out there in the middle of the play and make a tackle. The thing that I love about him, if I bring him in as my head coach, has he won a national championship yet? Not as a head coach, but I tell you what, he's done as a coordinator. He knows what it looks like to win at a high level. He knows what the roster is supposed to look like. He knows what the culture is supposed to look like. I tell you what, that matters. Being able to have a pretty solid blueprint and be able to tinker with it for yourself, that matters. I think that's going to ultimately lead for a lot of success for Brent Venables in the long run. In a short sample size at Oklahoma, went from 6 wins to 10 wins pretty quickly, has 2 top 10 classes so far at Oklahoma. He can and will recruit. When you watch Oklahoma play, too, and how they interact and talk about Brent Venables, guys play for him. Going back to culture, going back to buy-in. I don't think you can overstate the importance of that. So Brent Venables, I'm giving him a call, and we're going to make him our head coach if he says yes to us. Here's one that I think is maybe a little bit more off the radar, but I would be surprised if he's not a big-time college football head coach here in the next 5 or so years. He's already a head coach right now. He's got 2 years of experience. He's a quarterback whisperer. He is the head coach of the SMU Mustangs, and that's Rhett Lashley. Went from 7-6 his first year to 11-3 and AAC conference champs the next year. They're going to be in the ACC, so that probably helps things at SMU. It probably helps things when it comes to trying to keep Rhett Lashley as your head coach. 37 points a game and 38 points a game is what Rhett Lashley's offenses have averaged his first 2 years at SMU. As we move into the expanded college football playoff era, being able to speak quarterback fluently and get the quarterback position right is only going to become increasingly more important. Because as we move into this model, it's going to mirror, in my opinion, a lot more of what the NFL playoffs are. And I love the NFL. I love college football a whole heck of a lot more with every fiber of my being. But I love the NFL. And guys that win in the NFL, teams that win in the NFL, get the quarterback position really right. Brady, Mahomes, guys like that. And so Rhett Lashley, look at his track record. People throw a lot of shade at Tyler Van Dyke and what he didn't do at Miami. Tyler Van Dyke had a lot of success when Rhett Lashley was his OC. Rhett Lashley, to me, changed the entire way that people looked at TVD. Look at what he's done at SMU. Tanner Mordecai lit it up when he was there. Preston Stone lit it up last year for SMU. So at the end of the day here, I feel good about where my offense will sit, and I think that college football is starting to trend more and more towards a offense-driven, quarterback-centric formula when it comes to winning at a high level. Joey Maguire, head coach of Texas Tech, been head coach for 2 years, so we are way under the 5-year mark for a lot of these guys. So we're passing that test with flying colors. I don't think you can find anybody in the college football world, or just world period, that will say a bad word about Joey Maguire. Like, he is one of the most, in my opinion, like, genuine human beings you can find. He's a roster builder. He's an elite evaluator, and their personnel department is ahead of the curve. I'm telling you, I don't think that they are the last team to go to this model and how they evaluate and recruit talent. They have a personnel department, and we've said this on previous shows, that will evaluate the talent and then offer the kid, and then the coach will recruit that kid. So it's not a situation where like the linebacker coach sees a linebacker he likes, he recruits him, he offers him, and that model is fine. But to have an entire sector of your staff dedicated to specifically evaluating and determining who can play football for you, I think that's going to be ultimately the way that a lot of teams go here in the future. And it's allowed Texas Tech to be early on some guys and put together solid recruiting classes. Culture is creme de la creme over there. The buy-in is creme de la creme over there at Texas Tech. If you hire Joey Maguire, you're in great shape, and I think that the best is yet to come for them too at Texas Tech. Last one to get to here, and this is not a last, but this is not a, I guess the last call kind of situation, just a matter of preference. Mike Elko to me is like the pepperoni pizza of this list. Is it going to be like, are you winning national championships because you hired Mike Elko? Maybe, but I'll tell you what, the floor is a heck of a lot higher than a lot of other guys on this list. Like, you hire Mike Elko, you bring culture, you bring structure, you bring toughness. Currently, A&M has a top 10 class in 2025, so he's recruiting. 3-9 was what Duke was before he got there. Bada bing, bada boom, he shows up, they go 9-3. So I like the way that A&M is going to trend under Mike Elko. I think he's going to be phenomenal. And I have him on this list towards the back just because I want to see him do more with more. You could say that about a lot of these guys that we have towards the end. But again, I think it's really dealer's choice after you get out of that top two in my mind. So to recap it here, guys that I am calling to be my head coach, my program, with less than 5 years of experience. Dan Lanning gets the first call. Marcus Freeman, likable, genuine, great recruiter. He's going to do tremendous things in Notre Dame. Brent Venables, he knows what it looks like. He brings the juice, knows how to build a roster. Rhett Lashley, starting to turn more and more towards an offensive style of football here in college football. It's favoring the quarterback. Rhett Lashley speaks quarterback. Look at his resume. Joey Maguire, love the culture, love the personnel side of things. And then Mike Elko, such a high floor hire. I think he's going to do wonderful things at A&M. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.